Um, yeah. Good morning. Um, the mind still tries to make sense of everything. So there is, right, there is this, and this is happening, and this feels real. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. It doesn't really feel real, but I know it's happening. And it's not, no one's doing it, so it's happening. It's everything. So that's where the everything comes in. And it feels like everything, and then that, there's nothing. So I always heard this when it's both. It's nothing and it's everything, right? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Because I can sit here and talk about nothing. And that, of course, I wouldn't say maybe includes everything. Everything, and that's what's so, I don't know, it's interesting. There's just this surprise that everything's unknown. It makes so much sense. Like, of course, nothing's known. You don't know what's going to happen for real. You have an idea, and it's probability, and that's where the mind lives, right? The mind lives in what's likely to happen, and don't focus on this, and this is the best thing for this, and it's such an interesting concept. It's the mind. It's creating the reality and consciousness, and all that doesn't matter. It makes sense. So there was this thought I had as a kid, growing up in a little bit religious. Religion and Christianity and the Bible was there. Anyway, there was thought of me that, it doesn't seem right. Because what about there was this thought about, what about the kid or the family or the person who grows up, right, in just the middle of nowhere. No one tells them about Jesus or God or the Bible. What happens to them? Like, it never made sense to me that we always had to pass this away. Like, we had to pass the word to each other. So that never made sense to me. Just people talking, telling stories. Nothing wrong with that. In some ways, it's just what is, right? So that's fine. So why even talk about it? I don't know. There's no why, right? But there does seem to be this problem of hey, Lila. Problem of experience and of frustration, of of uncomfortableness, of this not being it, of this right? The search for whatever that is. Happiness, and it's this, it's everywhere. And everybody has their own rules, and the rules change, whatever, but everybody has their own system that they think they've developed of what keeps them straight, or what keeps them happy, or what keeps them successful, and their rules of life. And yeah, that's part of it. I don't know, maybe I have some of those. Right? Maybe we all do. Maybe that's just the character. That's just that's just what's happening. So, I don't know. There is this fear that what I thought, there's a lot of like giving up, right? There was a lot of perceived giving up. You've got to give that up, and you've got to give that up too, and give that up, and that was my way for a while. I had to give everything up. Let everything go. And then you could be free. Or happy, or more free, or better, more focused, more aligned, more grounded, mentally stable, healthy, a good in the world. Yeah. That seems to fall away. That seems to let go of letting go. It's no. There's none of that, and it's still whatever. It's still doing its whatever. Things that relationships or stress, or those topics that come in that are supposed to be bad, right? Stress, you're supposed to avoid stress. You're supposed to avoid drama, hate, whatever. You're avoiding all the sins that could lead you into trouble. Or could even, there was a way of it that could even just a little bit, you're flirting with, you're messing with fire if you're getting into any of these things. And I can see that story, that's, played out in the history of this character as well. That one's challenging to talk about too, because it's the end of responsibility. That could be big. Right? No one's responsible for anything. Wow, right? So again, touching on the topic of, there's really nothing. There's nothing but this appearance, this whatever this is, this. So when that's seen, that's the word that I've heard used, seen. When that's seen, because it's not known and it's not realized, it's not probably easily seen, but yeah. Well, then everything else comes along for the ride. And there's some, right? The forgiveness. Well, of course you could establish that as forgiveness, but it's not really that. It's just there's no everything's innocent. Everything, everyone, everyone. No one's wrong. Yeah. That one's fun, right? What does that lead to? Ooh, that could be uncomfortable. Because everybody wants to be right. Everybody's right in their own way, and it's just them. It's just a reaction of how they're right and whatever. And then sometimes you can feel like you've been wrong or whatever, but that's just you being right. You've now established that you were wrong and whatever. So that doesn't mean anything, but it doesn't mean that everything's acceptable, right? In the story or to the person. Because anything arising, anything can happen. So getting upset at a situation, upset at someone, or that's fine, that's whatever. Everything. There's nothing wrong. Maybe that's part of the freedom. What they talk about is everything is free, so there's nothing that needs to be changed. There's nothing that needs anything. There's no need. And that's fun to think about too. There's no need. There's no need for, yeah. There's no need to fix anything. There's no need to make the world better. There's no need to to protect yourself or set yourself up or, be on the right path versus the wrong path and the path. Yeah, the path of the story you write, right? That was one. What story are you writing about your life? What does it mean? And it's so nothing. Even when you really, when you're chasing that idea or that concept of meaning or what you're striving for, it's, I don't know. Here it was always just right, like probably every mind of what's totally self-centered. What are people thinking about me? That's who I am, right? That was a fun one of that's who I thought that I was. It's who people think that I am. So if I controlled what people saw of me or thought of me, then that's who I was, and I could feel good about that or bad about that. And I would, have secrets from this person or this person would think I'm this and create a whole new person. Right? You can change and you can be a new person. a better person. Yeah. I don't know if I was, it just makes me kind of giggle a little bit now when I remember the, maybe not the toughest times, but just, yeah, just all the, man, the seriousness and the struggle, the fight, the worry, the second guessing of the person. It seems now like everything, right? It seems like just unnecessary suffering. Because it was obviously there's nothing necessary. Fine. It's just there was no problem with it. I mean, I wasn't really suffering. Even though there was thoughts that there was. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. And it's not right. This message isn't right. It's not correct. It's not acceptable. Yeah. It shouldn't be taught. It shouldn't be known. It shouldn't be spread. There's no value. It's not better. I don't know. There's not much to say. There is this, this idea of this message being, that, what is it, the person can't hear this, or the, this message, or it's an energetic message. Resonation, like it resonates. Is that the same word? It could resonate. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. Like from the story's perspective, I got into non-duality and watched the videos all the time. Not all the time, but yeah. That was what I really liked to do. So if there was availability or whatever, yeah, I would dig it and listen to it. and still do. For a while it dropped off and I really didn't listen to it for a while, and I don't know. That's interesting, right? There's these new voices. And this is gonna spread, right? Yeah, in the story, maybe that does. Because there is something to this message that is unlike anything else. And I can't really watch I don't know. Like, there's no point in anything, so I'm not getting anything out of anything. So everything maybe has a shorter life, or maybe I'm just not, how I've described it is I'm not keeping anything. There's very little storage going on in the mind or the brain anymore, it seems like. It's of course a story that's not really happening, but it seems like that. So the memory, there's just nothing, there's not a lot there. The memory doesn't work very well anymore. Not that I ever had a strong memory, because I haven't. But now it's just, there's nothing going on much up there. What people tell me, it's just, whether it's their name or something whatever. I just don't think there's the attempt to, I don't know, to hang on to that. So it's not that I store it and it's in my brain. I just have trouble finding where it's at. Like, I can't locate this. Yeah, it's just that there's nothing. I wouldn't know where to look. I wouldn't know where to look. Did someone put that in there? I don't know. The brain does what the brain does. The mind does what the mind does. The body does what it's all. Everything's just doing what it's doing. So there's, that was a weird one too. There's no mind. There's no brain. There's just no separates. You can't separate anything out. You can't categorize anything. And you can. It's fun. But it's not really, you're not doing anything. You're not getting anywhere. Anyway. That should be enough anyway. Seems like I'm out. Other stuff I want to do.